Okay, so now we've created paths and we've been able to assign objects to move in those paths. We're going to look at something a little bit more complicated. What if you just don't simply want one enemy to move around a path, but you want a lot of them to move around following each other in a path, like it does in the World Tigers game? Well, what we need to do here is we need to create what's called a controller object, which is going to spawn the enemies. So I'm going to show you how you do this here. It's not that difficult, but you do need to watch carefully. So first of all, we click on to create a new object, and then I'm going to call it obj. I'm going to call it spawn spawner 1. Now this is going to be the one that spawns the square, the enemies that move in a square path. And because this is just a spawner, we don't actually need to see this. This is just going to be something that creates the enemies. Now we're going to do it so that basically this one we're going to create about 12 enemies that move around in the square. So I'm going to add an event called a create event, and the create event first of all is going to fire off an alarm. So if you click on main tree and drag over an alarm from timing, now I'm just going to set this to say 2 seconds, which is 60 steps. So after 60 steps, the alarm 0 event is going to go off. Now what we need to do is create, every time the alarm goes off, we're going to create a move path 1, I think was the one that moves in squares, and we're just going to create this relative to where the spawner is. It doesn't really matter because as soon as it starts moving, it's going to move in the path. So click that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to set the path position, which is going to be in the move tab. Now the position along the path, we're just going to move that up by a little bit. Let's try 0.1 relative. This just means every time you create a new enemy, you're creating it a little bit further along the path. And then we are going to, 1 minute, I've almost forgotten. Let's create instance. So the next thing that we want to do is reset the alarm. So we're going to reset this back to, let's say 60 steps. In fact, let's make this fine. Let's make this actually, yeah, okay, 60 steps. Now, we don't want to keep continually making enemies because then you end up with hundreds and hundreds. Now we said we were only going to create 12 enemies. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to control and drag across the test instant count to the top. So if the number of move path 1s is less than 13, and then drag it up arrow and a down arrow. Then we're going to create a new object. We're going to set the path position and we're going to set the alarm. So basically every second or every 2 seconds it's going to create a new object to move in a path, and it's going to move it on a little bit. And that is all that we need to do for the first spawner. As you can see, this move path it already moves it in the path. So what we need to do now to test is to go into this room. I have this open. So the room here, I'm going to take away the first object and then I'm going to put in spawner 1 and save it. And then we're going to run and test this just to make sure that all the enemies move around in a little path square. Oh. 1, 2. So that looks about right.